Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales' friends are opening up about how they intend to deal with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in the future, and it's utterly damning. William and Catherine are saying Harry and Meghan don't matter anymore.
That's exactly what they get for everything that they have done.
The piece by Rebecca English, coming straight out of Kensington Palace and published in the Daily Mail for Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales' 15th anniversary, isn't just another royal story. It's a carefully crafted message, loud and clear. This is one of the most important official portrayals of their relationship and future direction we've seen in years, and it's no accident it's coming out now.
There is no sense from this royal couple, the future king and queen, that the grifters will be let in ever again.
English isn't just any reporter. She's deeply tied into the royal saga, known for getting access others can only dream about. So when she drops a detailed, source-heavy look into William and Catherine's private world, you can bet those insights are coming straight from insiders or people right on the palace doorstep. This isn't gossip, it's strategy. Every word feels placed with purpose, and if you read it like casual news, you're missing the real story completely.
William and Catherine too. Who is performative and actually who has a terrible relationship behind the scenes? That's really interesting to me. William and Catherine don't feel any need to prove that everything's going great in the marriage, and Harry and Meghan do, and I think that is quite a contrast, isn't it?
Take the steel marshmallow label for Catherine. This isn't random. It's a deliberate callback to the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother's legendary nickname. Soft on the outside, but absolutely unbreakable underneath. That's the image being pushed hard. And let's be real, Catherine has been through intense pressure over the past 2 years. The edited Mother's Day photo drama, the health diagnosis, endless speculation about her health and marriage, plus being dragged into narratives about royal cruelty. It's been nonstop.
Notably, Harry isn't mentioned once. I'm told there is sadness, naturally, at how things have turned out, but William has very much placed the issue of his estranged brother to one side, to focus on the things that matter. Wow.
But now the message is crystal clear. She's still standing and stronger than ever. The steel marshmallow tag isn't just praise, it's branding. It tells the world exactly how the palace wants people to see her. Warm, approachable, but impossible to break. That mix of softness and strength mirrors what the Queen Mother showed for decades during some seriously tough times, and now that same energy is being stamped onto Catherine's public identity. Then comes the line about Prince Harry. And this is where things get sharp.
You know, they're trying to stay above the water. They're trying to not drown in it all. You know, like putting out pieces in People magazine, going to Australia. They're trying to remain relevant, but keep trying, but you're never going to get real validated relevance because you are insignificant to the people that matter.
There's barely any mention of him in the entire piece, but the one line included says everything. It reads that there is sadness about how things turned out, but William has placed the issue of his estranged brother to one side to focus on the things that matter. That word, estranged, isn't casual at all. The palace usually avoids saying that publicly, so dropping it here, through such a controlled channel, feels intentional and calculated. It's basically the institution officially confirming William and Harry are not just distant, they are fully estranged. But the real punch lands in those final words, to focus on the things that matter.
That is a damning, damning line. Those words really, really stood out to me. To focus on the things that matter. So what William and Catherine are saying, because my belief is that is a line that has come directly from Kensington Palace to Rebecca English.
That line hits harder than anything else in the piece, because what it quietly suggests is brutal. Harry is not part of what matters anymore. This isn't about hope or reconciliation. None of that is mentioned. There's no, we wish things were different, or we're open to talking. Instead, the message is clean and direct. William has moved on, and Harry is no longer in his priority zone. That implication isn't subtle, it's the entire point. Harry is framed as a distraction, something set aside so William can concentrate on bigger goals and responsibilities. And coming from a structured palace-backed narrative, this feels like the strongest official signal yet about where things stand.
this is what's going to happen for them. It will go down and down and down for them every single year, less and less and less importance. And I love watching it happen.
Even Charlotte Griffiths' earlier claim that William hates his brother and wouldn't include him at his future coronation had some room for doubt, since it came from a single journalist, even one with access to both sides. But now, with this controlled messaging, the tone feels far more final, far more deliberate, and impossible to ignore. The Rebecca English piece isn't just sourced, it's tightly controlled, with voices described as friends and associates of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, plus even a named former staffer who's still close to them. That's not random sourcing. That's as close as it gets to an official Kensington Palace statement without actually stamping it as one. Then comes the subtle but very sharp comparison. The article points out that William and Catherine don't feel the need to show everything publicly, that they aren't performative.
I love the idea that actually William is starting to realize, no, I need to protect these key parts of the British royal family. And I particularly loved the totally dismissive nature that he now feels in regards to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, effectively saying, focus on the things that matter. Translation, Harry and Meghan no longer matter to William and Catherine.
That line might sound soft, but it hits hard when you read between it. Because without naming them, it's clearly drawing a contrast with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It sets up two completely different images. One couple is framed as naturally close, not needing to prove anything to the world. The other, a couple whose public displays have often been described as staged, or at least a little too polished to feel effortless. That contrast is doing a lot of work, even without being spelled out directly. The message is slick. William and Catherine are the real deal, the authentic version of royal partnership. Meanwhile, the Sussexes' very visible affection starts to look more like a performance when placed side by side with that narrative. No direct attack is needed, the comparison builds itself. And here's where it gets even more layered. The idea that William and Catherine don't need to prove everything is going great lines up with past chatter, like claims from Andrew Wakeford's circles suggesting the Sussex marriage has been wildly unhappy, plus ongoing commentary that their public affection sometimes feels more forced than natural.
Because that's exactly what they get for everything that they have done to really good people, And yeah, it's so tragic, though, for the innocent children, I think. But hey, that's what it is. It's what it's going to be.
Those ideas are never confirmed here, but they're hovering in the background, adding weight to the contrast. To be clear, the source doesn't say the Sussex marriage is unhappy. Instead, it delivers a cleaner message. William and Catherine's bond doesn't need constant public validation like some others might. And just like that, the comparison lands without ever being directly stated. Now loop that back to the earlier line about Harry not mattering and focusing only on what does. And suddenly it feels bigger than just family drama. This taps into the old precedent set by Edward VIII, the former king who slowly faded into irrelevance after stepping away from royal life. That historical parallel is key. The further someone moves from the royal core, the less influence they have, and the less they matter in the bigger picture.
It's really sad to see that happening in slow motion every day with Harry. But good on William and Catherine.
It is, because the thing is, P. Dinah, actually, that's why William is right to try and not give these two any proximity to royalty.
By signaling that Harry has been placed to one side, William isn't just making a personal choice. It looks like he's reinforcing that same institutional playbook, and there's a real consequence to that. The more distance there is, the more the Sussex brand, built partly on royal connection, starts to lose its weight. The message feels almost strategic. Distance equals decline in relevance. At the same time, the piece drops a forward-looking detail that's just as important. Prince George heading to boarding school in July is now confirmed. That's not just a family update. It's a signal that the Wales family is moving exactly along the path the monarchy expects. This is the next phase kicking in, the future king stepping into elite education, building networks, shaping identity. That's all part of the long-term system. Meanwhile, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet growing up in Montecito are on a completely different track. The contrast in their futures is starting to show in real time. And just when it seems like the narrative is all celebration and control, another thread cuts through.
Not to focus anymore on his younger brother. And absolutely, I believe that he will not be part of William's monarchy.
Gordon Brown steps in through the New Statesman, calling for police to interview Prince Andrew over serious things. That's a huge shift in tone, because Brown isn't just any voice, he's carrying serious institutional weight. His intervention can't be brushed off as gossip or bias. It demands attention, and it adds a powerful layer of accountability running right alongside the palace's carefully managed anniversary story. The allegations being pointed to here aren't vague. They're tied to real documented claims. But timing is everything, and this is where the heat really turns up. Gordon Brown didn't drop his intervention randomly. He chose the exact week of a major state visit, a moment carefully designed to strengthen UK-US relations. That's not a coincidence, that's a calculated move. And let's be clear, Brown understands diplomacy inside out. So publishing in the New Statesman during such a sensitive moment signals intent. Whether you agree with his arguments or not, and many of them carry serious weight, the timing shows he prioritized maximum impact, even if it risked diplomatic tension.
They make all the important decisions together and support each other's work, says a friend. You couldn't find two people closer. The difference is they just don't feel the need to show it for the cameras. They aren't performative. Oh, I wonder who they're comparing.
That choice hasn't gone unnoticed, and the criticism is justified. Because making such a powerful accusation during a key international moment shifts the spotlight dramatically. It forces the issue into the open, right when the institution would rather control the narrative. Meanwhile, the palace response? Short, sharp, and frustratingly limited. The king does not wish to comment further. For many watching, that just doesn't cut it. An institution that prides itself on values and accountability suddenly looks silent when the pressure hits hardest. And that silence is exactly the problem being called out. There's no full investigation from within, no clear institutional reckoning, and no strong acknowledgement of those affected at the level people expect. What Brown is pushing isn't just criticism, it's a demand. Either the institution addresses these issues properly, or it faces ongoing pressure from outside voices who won't let it fade away quietly. That tension is building, and it's not going anywhere fast. Then, almost like a shift in tone, but still part of the same bigger picture, comes the entertainment angle.
She is allergic to be given advice about how things will come across or look through a PR lens. That's the total antithesis of how she operates. And isn't that interesting? Because it's also the antithesis of how Meghan operates, where everything she does is about how will this come across? What will people think of me? But the problem is there's no authenticity there. And the reason we have authenticity with Catherine is she doesn't think about the PR. She just does what she believes.
The Crown is moving forward with a prequel, stepping back into history, from the Queen Victoria to the Queen Elizabeth II, covering 1901 to 1947. That decision says a lot. The show is returning to the era critics loved most, the deeper historical storytelling. And it also quietly reveals something else. The modern royal drama, especially involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, isn't being turned into a dramatized storyline. Even though that chapter might pull huge audiences, the ongoing relationship between Netflix and the Sussexes makes a critical portrayal nearly impossible. So instead of diving into recent controversies, the series is stepping back into safer established history. Put it all together, and this week feels packed with signals. You've got the anniversary piece subtly sidelining Harry, Brown's intervention stirring accountability debates, the Crown shifting its storytelling focus, and the Sussex narrative that's noticeably absent from dramatized retellings.
This is really nice to see because we know that, Harry is not going to be a part of the coronation for William. I think William is just at a point in his life where he's finding his, place in the roles that he is going to be serving.
Through it all, one message keeps echoing from the palace side. According to those close to the inner circle, William has made his position clear. Harry has been set aside so he can focus on the things that matter. That phrase keeps coming back, and it's doing heavy lifting. At the same time, Catherine's steel marshmallow image stands ready, soft, steady, but unshakable, facing whatever comes next. And the direction feels set. Priorities are shifting, focus is tightening, and Harry is no longer part of that central picture. There's also a quieter but important signal buried in all this. Sources describe William and Catherine as conservative with a small c, not rigid but careful, measured, and strategic. That's not just a personality note. It's a hint at how they plan to lead. The goal, make the monarchy feel relevant again without tearing it apart. William isn't looking to destroy the system. He's looking to shake it up just enough to keep it alive. Not a total reset, but definitely not standing still either. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, want the monarchy to feel modern, relevant to today's world, not stuck in the past. But here's the twist. They're not throwing tradition away.
That is going to be the demise of Harry and Meghan. They are just not going to matter anywhere, not with the celebrities in California, not with his own family, his children. Harry's children are going to be missing out with all the important things that are going to happen in royalty circles and family and cousins and all of that. Like, Harry's demise essentially is he's going to be X'd out. He is X'd out of everything.
Events like garden parties and trooping the color are staying right where they are, front and center. That balance is everything. Too much change, and the monarchy loses its identity. Too little, and it risks becoming outdated. The real challenge is walking that tightrope, keeping history alive while still connecting with people living right now. Queen Elizabeth II pulled that off for 70 years, an incredible run. King Charles III is now handling it in his own way under very different pressures. And William? He's clearly planning to do it his way, something more personal, more direct, and shaped heavily by Catherine's influence. And Catherine's influence stands out. She's described as someone who trusts her instincts and pushes back hard against polished PR strategies. That anti-PR attitude isn't just a personality quirk, it's becoming a defining feature of how they operate. According to insiders, she finds it genuinely off-putting when people try to tell her how something will look in the media. Instead, she focuses on doing what feels right, and that natural approach creates a kind of public warmth that can't be faked. Now flip that against Meghan Markle and the Sussex setup, and the difference becomes impossible to ignore.
The trust issue. So, it's just going to have to be this way. And good for William to do this, because this is how you find balance and how you just continue with your own mental health, just focusing on you and your family. I love it. I love to see that, like, Harry and Meghan are just not an issue.
Meghan herself has spoken about structuring projects and appearances carefully, and many observers say their approach is highly strategic. Every move calculated, every message shaped for impact. This isn't about calling one side good and the other bad. It's about two completely different systems. One leans on instinct and authenticity, the other leans on planning and presentation. And when you look at public reaction, the gap starts to show. Polling like YouGov has highlighted a big difference in approval levels. Catherine's more natural, low PR style connects strongly with the public, while a more media-managed approach struggles to land the same way. The numbers don't just suggest a preference, they scream it. That single observation, that Catherine is allergic to PR advice, actually explains a lot, because what she's doing is working, and it's producing results that more controlled strategies aren't matching. Then there's the move to Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate. And this part adds a whole new layer.
Apart from royalty, the less significant they became. And
That's right.
I think William is thinking he wants to do the same thing.
That's what's happening right now.
The shift away from Kensington Palace wasn't just about location, it was about resetting their environment completely. The old home carried tension and difficult memories. The new space offers something different: privacy, open space, and a calmer family life for 3 kids and 2 dogs. It's less about royal display and more about real living, and that change has reportedly brought fresh energy and purpose. The Windsor setting also puts them close to the heart of royal life, without the constant pressure of central London. It's a strategic middle ground, connected but protected. Now, there's an obvious comparison with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet growing up in Montecito. They also have privacy, space, and a completely different lifestyle in California. But here's the key difference. It's not just about space, it's about structure. George, Charlotte, and Louis are growing up inside the royal system, surrounded by tradition, family networks, and constant proximity to the crown's public role. That kind of upbringing shapes everything: their connections, their expectations, even their future responsibilities. And over time, those differences in environment are going to become more and more visible.
I don't know. I also want to see the story of Meghan and Harry being told. It would be intriguing.
Yeah, but I think there would be too much of lies, I think, with Harry and Meghan's story being told.
Although, do you think even now that Netflix actually secretly hates Harry and Meghan now?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the shadow of the Prince Andrew situation hasn't gone anywhere. Gordon Brown's intervention still hangs over everything, cutting through the more polished anniversary narrative. The palace's silence on this issue isn't just noticeable, it's the exact failure Gordon Brown is calling out. The fact that King Charles III was in the US on a state visit when this dropped doesn't weaken the claims, it just makes the timing look strategic. That choice can be criticized, sure, but it doesn't erase how serious these things are. And that's where the frustration builds. Saying the king does not wish to comment further just isn't enough anymore. Right now, the gaps are obvious. Prince Andrew has not faced formal legal action, and no independent palace review has been publicly confirmed. That leaves a vacuum, and Brown's intervention steps right into it. And it might not have landed at the perfect moment, but the issue itself is real, and it's not fading away. Meanwhile, Prince William is dealing with all of this at once. Family tensions, his father's health, Catherine's recovery, the Andrew situation, and preparing for his own future as king. It's a lot, and it's all happening at the same time. That pressure adds a human layer to everything. He's not just managing headlines, he's managing a family under strain while trying to keep the institution steady. And through it all, the palace narrative stays focused and controlled. The anniversary piece makes that crystal clear. It presents William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, as grounded, forward-looking, and fully focused on what comes next.
But I don't know. It just seems like, yeah, seeing their story from a real perspective of, how the majority of people see their relationship, Harry and Meghan's relationship, that would be groundbreaking. That would be very nice to see. But Netflix is not the one to do it.
But right alongside that message is something sharper. A clear, deliberate distancing from Prince Harry. The word estranged is used, and it sticks. Harry isn't just distant, he's been placed firmly to one side. The priorities now are the institution, the family, and the future, especially preparing Prince George for what's ahead. And Harry? He's watching from California. Whether or not his team says he did not watch, the reality is he's part of the same narrative cycle. Statements come out saying he doesn't need the palace or Charles, but those statements exist because of what's coming from the other side. Everything is being recorded, moment by moment. The palace moves forward, steady and strategic, while the distance grows wider. The bigger picture is impossible to miss. William is shaping his version of the monarchy, focused on stability and relevance. Harry is outside that structure now, reacting rather than shaping. And that's the shift. The institution is moving ahead, the next generation is being prepared, and the message is locked in. William has placed Harry to one side, and the things that matter are already moving forward. The quote from Jamie Lowther Pinkerton isn't just another comment, it carries serious weight because of who he is. This is someone who worked closely with both Prince William and Prince Harry during some of the most defining years of their adult lives. He left on good terms, stayed professional, and most importantly, kept quiet for years.
William and Catherine are saying Harry and Meghan don't matter anymore. And in some ways, that's the most damning indictment you can give a couple so desperate for relevance. And it's also William making it very clear they don't matter because they are not going to be part of my monarchy. They can do whatever they want to try and become part of Charles's monarchy, but they are not going to become part of my monarchy.
That kind of silence builds credibility. So when he finally speaks, it matters a lot more than the usual insider chatter. And what he says is striking. He describes William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, as true equals, not just a couple playing roles. The idea that William is protective of Catherine, but that she's just as strong and supportive back, flips the usual narrative and makes their partnership feel balanced and real. He also highlights something deeper. Catherine's stable, close family background gave William something he didn't fully have growing up. And that influence is now shaping how they raise their own kids. That's not a surface-level observation. That's insight from someone who watched it unfold up close. And here's where it gets interesting. Lowther Pinkerton knows Harry just as well, but he doesn't say anything about Harry's marriage. That silence stands out. It's not accidental, it's part of the message, whether intentional or not. By choosing to speak positively about William and Catherine while saying nothing about Harry, the contrast quietly builds on its own. No direct criticism, no harsh words, but the gap is there, and it's noticeable. Then comes the media angle, and the irony hits hard. Netflix, after paying huge money to Harry and Meghan Markle, is stepping away from their modern story and heading back into the past with The Crown prequel. Instead of diving deeper into recent royal drama, the focus shifts to 1901 to 1947, ending just before the modern royal era that Harry and Meghan are part of. That choice says a lot, and it's hard to ignore. The Sussex story already got its moment through their documentary, but reactions were mixed, with criticism around how selective the storytelling felt. Reports have also suggested that the broader deal has been scaled back, and Netflix is moving in a different direction. So what's left? A return to what worked. Historical drama, earlier monarchs, and stories that don't come with ongoing real-world complications. It's a safer move, but also a strategic one. Right now, telling a full dramatic version of Harry and Meghan's story isn't simple. There are business ties, public sensitivities, and unfinished chapters that make it tricky to handle. But that won't last forever. At some point, when everything settles, the full story will be ready to be told properly. Until then, the prequel fills the space. It goes back to a time before the current tensions exploded, almost like pressing pause on the present chaos. And that timing, it feels completely deliberate.